Okay. Good afternoon to all. We are cordially inviting all the participants for the today invited talk on the occasion of International Day of Biodiversity, May 22nd, that we are observing as a International Day of Biodiversity as for United. The theme of this year based upon that theme, our distinguished speaker, eminent personality in the biodiversity field, is going to deliver a lecture, an invited talk to enlighten, to give a broad concept to all of us. Our Dr. C.H. Srinivasulu sir, Professor of Zoology and Center for Biodiversity and Conservation Studies of OU, will be invited by our Dr. D. Narmada ma'am, Assistant Professor of Botany from our Government City College. Ma'am, please give a invite brief note on the invited speaker. Please, ma'am.
Dr. Narmada, unmute yourself.
Unmute, Chairman.
Okay. A very good afternoon to one and all. On behalf of Department of Botany and Green Committee of Government City College, Hyderabad, I welcome you all for today's session. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Dr. C.H. Srinivasulu sir. He is a professor of zoology at Usmania University and also director for Center of Biodiversity and Conservation Studies at Usmania University. And today we are inviting him for a talk on occasion of International Day of Biodiversity. Sir was awarded PhD in 2000 from Usmania University. He worked as also Scientist D at Center for Environment Management of Degraded Ecosystems, School of Environmental Sciences at Delhi University. He executed almost 5 MRPs, that is major research projects on bat studies exclusively. And 7 research scholars are almost completed, they have completed PhD under his guidance, and 3 and many more are in the queue. They are about to submit. He is a learned scholar with global acclaim. He has, to his credit, 155 research papers in peer-reviewed international and national journals, and 132 online resources on IUCN Red List database, and many more are there. Because of shortfall of time, I'm just concluding it. He is a member of even 16 academic professional bodies of national and international level. Sir, we are highly honored and highly privileged to have you as a speaker for this session, sir. I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. Please, over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much to all the people organizing committee members, especially Dr. Nagaraju and Dr. Narmada and all the others who are participating here. And special thanks to Dr. Balabhaskar, the principal of the college, a good friend. All of you know me. And as today is the International Biodiversity Day, I was just thinking about what I should speak to our audience, our students of the Government City College. Then I realized that there are many things that I can talk about biodiversity, how you define biodiversity and all such kind of things, but I thought that I should focus or bring to focus what we have in Telangana, and then start thinking about how we can document and how we can contribute to increasing the knowledge, and how we individually can contribute for the conservation of biological diversity as such. Today being the International Biodiversity Day, it is a very, very important day. for a reason that we celebrate this day to give respect and celebrate all the living organisms that are around us, and also to create awareness about the biological diversity all around us. And this year, the United Nations has brought in a kind of theme that Dr. Nagaraj was mentioning, and that theme is from agreement to action. The governments have been working on this particular biological diversity understanding, and how to conserve biological diversity, how to mitigate various types of problems that the biological diversity is facing. But in the past 1 decade, what we have seen is, since 2010 to 2020 and until now 2023, lot of things have been said and lot of things have been done, but we are not able to reach up to that level wherein we can say that we have uh, really reach the targets that we have kept for conserving biological diversity. For this year, we said that okay, this year's theme is, you you have agreed, but you need to act. Unless and until you act, there's no value for the agreement that you have done with. And then we also have a theme that goes in saying that bringing back biodiversity. That means that we have been losing biological diversity and we have to bring them back. Most of our students who are in the city college, because we are in the heart of the city. In fact, Government City College on the southern side of River Musi is in the Hyderabad city itself, because Hyderabad city, when it was formed, it was in that vicinity from River Musi to Charminar. So because our college belongs there and our college has a very very rich history, I would like to just bring upon my students and listeners that these are some of the actions that we have to take when we are thinking about biological diversity and its conservation and all, because these actions are very very important. Each one of us can do those kind of things. For example, we can control pollution. The pollution could be in the form of noise, it could be in the form of air pollution, soil pollution. You reduce the usage of plastic, etc., etc. Each one of us can do it. I don't have to go to government to ask government to give me, or I don't have to go to principal and ask principal to give me the permission that I should not bring any plastic to my college. No, each one of us can do that. The second point is, we need to think about protecting, connecting and restoring ecosystems. Whatever we are, wherever we are, if we can protect the ecosystem, we connect with the ecosystem. We know as students of biology what ecosystem is, but how many of us have really connected with the ecosystems? The river Musi that flows in front of us, we think that it is a nala today, it is a a sewage nala today, but river Musi was a river that used to flood like anything and used to create lots of problems to Hyderabad city and citizens of Hyderabad. So how many of us have understood the real importance of river Musi, which is just opposite to your college? Then what I'm trying to tell you is, each and everyone has to connect with the ecosystem. Then the third point that we need to think about is, like we have to talk. As I told you, connect with ecosystem, we have to also encourage other people who are living with us in the city ecosystems to understand the ecological diversity that we have all around us, biological diversity all around us. Then we have to protect the wild animals and plants that are living there in our urban ecosystem in the city itself. And then how we can think about uh, prevention of zoonotic diseases, like and do not unnecessarily go and disturb wild animals that are living in the city ecosystems. There are bats living in your college and nearby in the high court, so do not go and disturb them. We know that they are there. Let them be happy with themselves, let us be happy with ourselves, and understand that how zoonotic diseases spread when animals and human beings come in contact, then zoonotic diseases spread. So understand that particular thing and start respecting and keep distance from animals and such living organisms that we share the city with. then think about, protecting and planting endemic plants. Now we do lots of plantation activities and all those things, and most of the time, because we are curious of, planting many species, etc., etc., we ignore the endemic plants. So we should encourage and we should think about, planting endemic or native plants in our vicinity. And then we have to also think about, how whatever we are consuming, we should not consume more than what is required. Consumption, not only, taking it physically, but also, keeping it with ourselves. If I require one notebook, buy one notebook. It should not be like, I have money, so I'll buy 10 notebooks. So that kind of, clarity we need to have when we are thinking about biological diversity. We have to also think about, how we can reduce our carbon footprint, how we can be more eco-friendly, how we can, travel in or commute in, the public transportation system and all such kind of things that are there. So all such kind of things we have to also keep in view. We have to also start thinking about, talking about the importance of biodiversity. It's not just on this day that we should think about biological diversity, but it should be always, day in, day out, every day of the year, 365 days of the year. You should be, talking about biological diversity. You should be thinking about biological diversity, because our living or our life depends, human life depends upon the biodiversity, because we are integrated with the biodiversity and all such kind of things. Being in college, we also have to start thinking about how we can minimize waste, how we can manage waste, how we can, think about, you know reducing the consumption as well as creating the waste and all such kind of things. And we also have to start thinking about not only our college, but also, creating this kind of awareness in other colleges, other schools nearby. Go to them, talk to them, and create awareness about how we can reduce the carbon footprint, how we can reduce the wastage, how we can encourage plantation of, native plants, or how we can encourage control of spread of zoonotic diseases, etc., etc. People should be told about all these things, and all of us can take active participation in these kind of activities. Not only that, we also have to, as we are doing today, we have to think about, celebrating important days and then create awareness, because awareness is something which is very, very important as such. So with this kind of, small background on why we have to talk about biological diversity, why it is important and all such kind of things, I would take you to my presentation, and that presentation would talk to you about, or will give you an idea about, how much of biological diversity that we have in Telangana, and what can we do for, contributing to the existing knowledge, and how we can help government and institutions like us in your city college, etc., in documenting the biological diversity and take it forward. Like, if you know what is around us, if you know what are the things that we have in our vicinity, only then you would be starting to think about the problems they are facing, and the protection they need, etc., etc. If you don't know that, there are very rare species of plants and animals that are existing in, say, Hyderabad district or Hyderabad city as such, nobody would be interested in thinking about them, and even thinking about protecting them. So I'm just giving you an example that, there's all the students might be from botany and zoology background, but from the botany background, I will give you one example, that there was a small climber, wonderful species, genus, climber belonging to genus called Ceropegia. And this used to be found, one particular species used to be found on a small hillock, which was in an area which is presently the Osmania University. That hillock used to be known as Adikmate Gutta, and on the Adikmate Gutta, we have to have a small population of this particular species of Ceropegia. And it was recorded in 1930s, in that decade, and after that we have never seen this particular species in Hyderabad city. It has never been reported. So what has happened over there is, because when the Osmania University was being established in the current location and on the Adikmate Gutta, there was a plan to, set up university library, the central library of the university, when the building construction and all those development activity happened, we have somehow contributed to exterminating or extinction of that local population of this particular rare species of plant that was there existing on that particular gutta. So what I am trying to tell you is, when I give you this information or I give this kind of information to people, then people come to know, oh my God, is that how we impact the biological diversity? Yes, that is how we impact biological diversity. We construct roads, we construct buildings, etc., etc. But we have been, causing damage to the biological diversity, damage to the ecosystem, etc., etc. So that becomes the very essence of understanding what we have all around us. So I'm just sharing the screen. Let me just share it, and I want to confirm if at all you are able to see the slide. Anybody can answer? Hello?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
It's visible? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'll just go to the screen presentation, and then it will take a lot of time for me to tell you the complete story of the biological diversity that we have in Telangana. I'm just going to give you glimpse of what we have around it, and this also I'm just giving you a kind of rider or a kind of warning that we are updating the database, and the database might get updated, because the presentation that I'm showing you is almost about 6 to 7 month old, and since then we have been working on updating the database, and very quickly, very maybe in a month's time, our database would be up for everybody to see, and the numbers would change. So do not worry about the quantum of species that I'm talking about under different groups that I would be dealing with, but think about how many of them are there. And believe me, in the updated database, their numbers are increasing, because we have lots and lots of people doing research. We have lots and lots of people who are contributing to increasing the awareness that we have all around us on the biological diversity. So to begin with, let's understand what our Telangana state is all about. That Telangana state, as such, you see, is a landlocked ecosystem, landlocked state. It lies in the Deccan Peninsular region, and it is on the Deccan Plateau biogeographical region. And it's the 12th largest state in India, and it has two major river systems. If I can, just think about, yeah, here we have the Godavari river system that flows in this direction, and at the southern border we have the Krishna river system, which comes here right like this, and then it forms the southern border of Telangana state. So we have two major river systems, Godavari in the north and Krishna in the south, and we have many minor river systems, including Bhima, Maner, Manjira, and Musi river. And the whole of Telangana is divided into as many as 33 districts, and mostly our area is plain, and we have gentle slopes, and we also have undulating rocky hills, rocky bouldery hills, and the elevation ranges from 30 meters above sea level to 900 meters above sea level. The highest point 900 meters is in the Nalamala hills, which is in the Nagar Karnool district, which is right over here. Let me just see if you can see. It's right over here. The highest point is right over here. So we have, because of this kind of variety, of course we are a small state, not as large as other states, so naturally our geographical diversity would also be limited. We do not have any coastal ecosystem. Mangroves are not there, but irrespective of that, we have wonderful vegetation type all around us, and we have moist deciduous forests which are found in Adilabad, Nirmal, Komram Bheem, Mancherial, Jayashankar, Bhopalpalli, all your most of the Godavari river basin, you would be having the moist deciduous forest. And then the forest ecosystem throughout the state is dominated by dry deciduous forest. We also have thorn forests, which are also found in many different districts. Almost all the districts have thorn forest, and we have riparian fringing forest all along the major rivers. We have this in a very small, zones. And then we have scrub forest, which is found almost throughout the state, and we also have savanna or grassland ecosystems, which is also found throughout the state. But these ecosystems, like especially the grassland and the savanna ecosystems, are very what you say, not very expansive. They are limited in their range. So when we talk about the floral diversity of Telangana state, there is a lot of study that has been done in the past, and in the Hyderabad state, Telangana was part of Hyderabad state, and we also had the areas of Hyderabad state in Maharashtra, the present day Maharashtra, as well as in the present day Karnataka. So in these areas, we had lots of works on flora being done. Flora of Hyderabad state in 1849, the Altabad district was studied, and Warangal district was studied. And then flora as such throughout the Hyderabad state, as many as 450 species of flora has been reported in 1911. And grasses, there were as many as 115 different types of grasses being reported from Hyderabad state by Saxena in 1947. And the forest flora of Hyderabad state states that there are as many as 567 species of flora being reported in 1953. As you just see that, as years progress, our knowledge about flora has been increasing. And since 1954 to 1997, where many studies have been published on floral diversity and all such kind of things, but we started thinking about the new species discovery and all such kind of things, distributions and all such kind of things happening only after 1998 onwards. So we see that a lot of changes have come into picture, and then in between we have also seen that people have been publishing district flora compendiums, and we had Pulaya et al in 1991 publishing about flora in Adilabad, as many as 673 species. And very recently you have flora of Rangareddy by Pulaya and Silar Muhammad, 698 species. If you just very quickly go through the list, then you will see that Mahbubnagar district and the Nagar district and Hyderabad district, they were having lots and lots of floral species reported, as well as the Warangal district. So you see that the districts that are having lots of vegetational diversity, lots of forest diversity and all those things, they were having good species of flora as such. So as I told you, about 6 months back, we had records of as many as 1911 species of flora, which included 893 genera of angiosperms, including 1422 species of dicotyledons and 489 species of monocotyledons. So that's the diversity that we are having. And by the latest, we have already jumped. We have added almost about 300 more species information to this database. So this particular slide tells us that we have a wonderful diversity of floral diversity that is all around us, and as many as presently we have almost about 2,100 odd 100 plus species of floral diversity that is recorded in Telangana state. So this table just tells you about how they are distributed in many very different taxonomic groups, family wise, genera wise, and species wise. Now you might be wondering, okay, there are so many different species that are present in Telangana, but are there any species that are endemic to Telangana? Yes, there are. About 6 months back, we had the information about 7 endemic species and subspecies, but 3 more have been added in the recent past, and we have included that in the database. But for example's sake, we can think about, we have Elesicarpus nagarensis, Cytocline manilaliana, and then Habenaria ramayana, Epanthus watsyavani. And then you have Ledaboria hydrabadensis, which was discovered in our own Osmania University campus. Uh, so what we have done about 5 years ago was trying to understand how many threatened species of flora and fauna are there in Telangana. Of course, with the support of Telangana State Biodiversity Board, of which I am also the member, expert member, and we had been given this responsibility to understand and give the information about how many threatened flora and fauna we have. Based on that study, we have found out that there are as many as 56 species belonging to 25 families that are threatened in Telangana. And of these, as many as 30 species are endemic species, and of which, as I already told you, 7 taxa, that means species and subspecies included, are endemic to Telangana state. It is very important to understand that the endemic species require more attention for conservation, more attention towards threat mitigation, etc., etc. And this particular slide very clearly tells us about what exactly uh, is the status of the uh, just a moment. I'm trying to get the yes. So this particular slide tells us the distribution of threatened plants, flora in different districts, and we can see that the districts that are naturally having more number of flora, floral diversity would have more number of threatened species. So according to this analysis, we found that Jayashankar Bhopalpalli as well as Nagar Karnool districts are the areas where you have more number of threatened species of flora being found. So what we have also done is we have applied the IUCN criteria, red listing criteria, and tried to understand how many species of these 56 species are critically endangered. As many as 25%. 25% of the 56 species are critically endangered, 32% are endangered, and 42 or 43% are vulnerable in their status. So we have to protect these species. If we do not protect these species might become locally extinct. Especially, they will become extinct if at all they are endemic to Telangana. There is a problem. For example, we are thinking about what kind of development has happened in Yadgiri Gutta area in the Bonagiri Yadadri district. So what we are understanding is what might have happened to that particular species. I'll just go back and show you that thing. Polycarpia corymbosa variety Yadgirense. So this is a particular subspecies or variety that was found only on the Yadgiri Gutta and its surrounding. And now, because government of Telangana has done a lot of development in that area, developing the Yadadri temple, what has happened is this subspecies might have been under great threat, and we do not know. Botanists, my colleagues from the botany department, they should be taking up surveys and find out whether this subspecies is still existing there or not. So that's very, very important. And many a times we start thinking, when we say that okay, these are so many species that are being affected, many a times people ask us what is causing them to die, what is causing them to become extinct. Then the reasons are, the biggest reason is habitat loss. We are making so much of changes in the habitat. We are converting habitat into real estate. We are cutting the forest to make into agriculture ecosystems. We are cutting the forest to develop cash crops ecosystems, etc., etc. Or clearing the areas, or as I just told you, developing in the name of tourism, etc. So habitat loss is one of the major factors that are affecting the flora in Telangana, followed by collection for medicinal purpose, livestock grazing, trading, human encroachment, feeding by wild pig, and all the other reasons. I have just listed out so many reasons, and each of the reason becomes very, very important. There are some species that are impacted. Of the 56 species that we have studied, 50% of the 56 species, 50 species of the 56 species are impacted by habitat loss. So that is how you can understand how many different kind of threats are impacting the flora. Now let's get to fauna, and in the faunal diversity we have as many as 786 species of vertebrates that have been reported from Telangana state, and this number would also increase because we are now updating the list of birds as well as mammals. There's not much of update on the mammals as such, but for birds the number is going to change. There are 143 species of fishes in Telangana. There are two endemic species of fishes, and both of them have been reported from Godavari River Basin, from the Asifabad, Komrambim Asifabad district. We have Rita Bakalu, and we also have Indorio Nectus telanganaensis from this is Nirmal district. Uh, we have these two species that are endemic to Telangana state, and then we see that there are as many as 12 species of 143 species that are threatened. Uh, Excuse me, somebody is speaking to me. If not, kindly mute. Yeah, thank you very much. So there are 12 species that belong to 6 families, and then there are, of these 12 species, 8 species are endemic to India, and as I've just told you, 2 species are endemic to Telangana state. So this is the kind of distribution in different districts of the threatened fish, and here also you can just pay attention. You will see that the districts that are adjoining the Krishna River is having the most threatened species, followed by the Godavari River as such. And then of the 11 species that we have seen, one species is critically endangered, 2 species endangered, and 5 species vulnerable, and 3 species we do not have any data. And the 2 new species that we have discovered recently, we have not evaluated them yet. But I believe that they are range restricted species, and they could be either vulnerable or endangered as such if we do proper evaluation. We see that fishes are being impacted by introduction of major carp, the fish industry, or fishery industry, and alien species, especially with respect to tilapia. We have seen that tilapia fish, wherever their tilapia grows, the native fishes are going down in that population. Overfishing is another reason, and local consumption is another reason. All the 8 species that we have documented, all of them have this equally impacting. As far as the amphibians are concerned, we just have 17 species of amphibians, very poor diversity that we are having. But I personally believe that lots of research needs to be done so that we can understand how much of real diversity of amphibians that we have in Telangana. Not many of us are studying amphibians. That's the reason why I personally believe that we do not have that much of information. So among the threatened species, we only have one species, that is the Taphrinus hololeus. This is a species that is a threatened species of amphibia in Telangana district. So this species have been reported from very few districts, and that names you can see: Adilabad, Karimnagar, Khammam, Nalgonda, and Nirmal. In these districts, we have seen this particular hololeus as such. Then this is the only species that is threatened, and we have seen that this species is data deficient because not much of information is there about this species to do any kind of assessment. So what is impacting the amphibians? We have seen that amphibians are being impacted by because of their nature of lifestyle, living both on land as well as in water. Any water pollution, any pollution, chemical increase, dumping of chemicals or pesticides in the water aquatic ecosystems would impact the amphibians as such. Then there are 83 species of reptiles in Telangana state, of which 36 species are threatened, and most of the threatened species are snakes, colubrid snakes. And of the 36 species, we found that 14 species are endemic to India, and 3 taxa or 3 species that have been recently discovered and described: Hemidactylus flavicordus, Hemidactylus zericolus, and Emulus. This is flavicordus, this is zericolus, and this is Emulus. These are the endemic reptiles of Telangana. These are the three lizards that are found only in Telangana. As far as the science is concerned, as far as our knowledge is concerned, these are known only from certain parts of Telangana, not other places. So the threatened species distribution, once again, if you can see in all the 33 districts, it is like this. There are few districts from where we have very few records, like Jagtial and Karimnagar districts. We have less number, only one species is reported from there. Whereas in the other districts, we see that there are lots of species that have been reported, threatened species that have been reported. Once again, if you pay attention, you would be surprised to see that Mechal Malkajgiri has large number of threatened taxa. Rangareddy has large number of threatened taxa. So this kind of gives us information that wherever we have good knowledge, because all surrounding our Hyderabad, in the greater Hyderabad, we have lots of volunteers who are rescuing snakes, etc., and they give us lots of information. So that also kind of gives us solid information that okay, these species occur in these districts. So this is again one more trend that tells us that the districts that have lesser information are the districts in which we have to focus to conduct more of biodiversity studies as such. Of the 36 species of reptiles, 9 species are critically endangered, 3 are endangered, and 24 are vulnerable. So these species, all these species needs to be protected. And what are impacting them? Once again, habitat loss and fragmentation is the most impacting threat, followed by trade, followed by mining and stone quarrying, encroachment, killing. Many people kill reptiles, snakes, without even knowing that okay, this snake is venomous or not. If they see this snake, they will kill it. So pollution of water bodies, local sustenance, etc., etc. As far as the birds are concerned, wonderful diversity that we have. This is an endemic bird of India, which is great Indian bustard. It used to be found in Telangana, but today it's no more. The closest population that we used to have from Telangana in Andhra Pradesh was Rolapadu Wildlife Sanctuary, and there also we have seen 90% decline in the bustard population. There are rarely a sighting of bustard in Andhra Pradesh also today. So very, very pathetic situation. This is a grassland species, and we have converted all the grasslands into forest ecosystems or plantations, and that's how we have lost this bird totally. So there are about 23 species that we have highlighted as threatened species in Telangana, and most of these species are the vultures, kites, and eagle species. 7 species are from this particular family, and 4 species are from the family of cranes. So one species is endemic to India, as I just told you, and there are no endemic birds in Telangana as such. And again, this is the distribution of the threatened birds in the districts. And once again, you can just pay attention that the districts that do not have information are Suryapet, Rajanna, Sirsila, Peddapalli, etc., etc. Fine tuning needs to be done. Lots of people have to also focus on these particular areas. The newly formed districts, go there, survey, and get us more information. Of the 23 species of birds that we have assessed, 3 are regionally extinct. That means they do not occur in Telangana state. One example I have just given you, like the great Indian bustard. This is a regionally extinct. 2 species are critically endangered, 6 species are endangered, 11 species are vulnerable, and 1 species is data deficient. So these are the impacts that or threats that are impacting the bird diversity in Telangana. Habitat loss and fragmentation, once again, is the most important threat, followed by agriculture expansion, change in land use patterns, drainage and pollution of water bodies, uses of pesticides, overfishing, human disturbance, etc., etc. As far as the mammals are concerned, we have as many as 97 species of mammals reported from Telangana state. We have very, very unique species of mammals that are endemic to India, and they also occur in Telangana state. We have Madras tree shrew, and we also have rusty spotted cat. These are very unique mammals. Again, we have Madras tree shrew in the Godavari River Basin and Nalamala Hills, and rusty spotted cat we have so far known only from the Nalamala Hills for confirmed records, but we also have some doubtful records from Asifabad district. There are as many as 22 species of mammals that are threatened with extinction, and we see that most of the species belong to bovids, that means cow or buffalo-like animals. In the photograph, you can see a very large, cow-like animal, which is Indian bison, Bosporus, which also occurs in Telangana. We have species that belongs to dog family, 3 species, and 3 species that belongs to cat family. Of course, you have your rusty spotted cat, you have tiger, and you have panther. All the 3 of them are, threatened with extinction. Of these 22 species, we see that there are 4 species that are endemic to India, and we do not have any endemic mammal to Telangana state. Once again, this is the distribution of the mammals in the various districts, the threatened mammals in various districts. And again, here you see the trend is the forested tracts. Wherever you have districts that have good forest, there you have more number of threatened mammals being present. The highest being found in Nagar Karnool district, which also has major part of your Nalamala Hills in Telangana state. So we see that most of the species are vulnerable. Of the 22 species that we have assessed, we see that 18 species are vulnerable and 4 species are endangered as such. And if you want to understand the threats, once again, habitat loss and fragmentation is the highest threat that is impacting as many as 18 species of threatened mammals in Telangana. Encroachment and change in land use pattern, hunting, poaching, killing due to human-animal conflict, hunting for local consumption, depletion of prey base, etc., etc. All these things, and you can just pay attention towards the last 2 threats. One is pollution of water bodies, and the other one is road kills. You have an otter. We have Indian smooth-coated otter. In Telugu, we call them as neeti kukka or eti kukka, and this occurs in water bodies. And these, if the pollution happens in the water bodies, they get impacted by that. As well as road kills. Road kills also one species. In fact, the first report of the rusty spotted cat from Telangana region was based on a road kill. That when we were doing research, we found out that there was a dead cat, and when we observed it and studied the carcass carefully, we found out that it is a very unique cat that has never been reported from Andhra Pradesh, and we have reported it. That was based on a roadkill. So roadkill also happens to be, one of the major threats that impacts the wild animals in Telangana. So that brings us to the end of the vertebrate section of faunal diversity. And as far as the invertebrates are concerned, there are more than 500 species. I know that this is a lower number, but we have more and more numbers being added. But to the best of our knowledge, to the best of my knowledge, I am aware of these things. But in the recent update, I'm adding more and more of these species to this particular invertebrate group. We have as many as 175 butterfly species, 71 moth species, 53 spider species. Now I have updated it, and I have saying that it's 100 plus spider species. There are about 14 scorpions and 24 beetles and 15 hemipterans and 18 hymenopteran species that have been reported. Following that, we also have neuropterans, we have dermopterans, we have grasshoppers, orthopterans, we have mantids, that is praying mantis and cockroaches, etc. We have dragonflies and damselflies, we have centipedes and millipedes, we have freshwater mollusks, and all those things. The photograph of the spider that you are seeing is a newly described species found only in Telangana and named after Telangana. So our lab has discovered as many as 8 species of fauna. We have one spider, one fish, and 6 species of lizards that we have discovered from our lab. And both the species of one species of fish and the other species of spider, we have named it after Telangana because we wanted to celebrate Telangana and we wanted scientists also to know about Telangana state as such. By doing naming species after Telangana, people come to know about Telangana. That's how this thing works. So I believe that was the last slide of my talk today, and I'm just leaving this slide open for some time so that you can note down my contact details if you have any doubts or you need any clarification or you want to think about how you can contribute to biodiversity documentation and biodiversity conservation. uh, Presently or in future, you can contact me and we would be more than happy to help you all uh, come along with us in the journey of understanding biological diversity, conserving biological diversity. So yeah, I'll stop here. I'll stop my presentation. Yeah, I'm back up here.
Sir, thank you for your elaborated talk, sir.
Okay.
Very nice presentation, especially related to our Telangana, floral and faunal diversity, threatened species and vulnerable species, what we are facing. Our City College Musi surrounding area diversity. We all feel proud and happy to have a talk with you, sir. I think all the participants, delegates, they acquire the knowledge and they are stimulated, activated with the biodiversity things. I expect that most of them are highly interested and enthusiastic in the biodiversity. Nowadays, we need so much of the aware about this biodiversity. We already known from our action. We are only say in all the court we are following these action that
Yeah,
like
Mr. Milind, can you mute yourself? Milind, yeah,
like you people need for the motivation of the young generations to take and to come to this field, the biodiversity field especially. Most of them, the youngers, they are going towards the biotechnology, the modern advanced things. With that, they are forgetting about the biodiversity. Most of them, they are getting all the sources freely, but they are not knowing about this, knowing about that we are getting freely the resources, whatever the biodiversity resources.
yeah,
Without the plants, they know they can't survive without
yes,
the oxygen, without the water resources, without the competition, without the collaborations, without the symbiosis with the nature.
yes,
That all the knowledge we have to inculcate in the youngsters, sir, especially.
yeah,
We have to motivate. And as in the COP27, young Germany lady girl, how she has activated, how she talked like that in our India, especially Tamil Nadu girl also. They are
yes,
very stimulated, very active in the biodiversity concern, the climate change concern.
yeah,
Like that, we need to motivate more and more students and need to weigh the path for them to be active, to participate, and to save, to conserve, to protect our nature. Sir, and I'm very much delighted and happy to give this platform to our students
yeah.
with your eminent personality. Sir,
Yeah, I just see that there are a couple of risen. Yeah, so Dr.
yeah,
Gauri
yeah.
Shankar, you have
Gauri
any?
Shankar,
Yeah,
anybody want to ask a question? Any doubt? Any clarification is needed?
Dr. Gauri.
Gauri Shankar. Here one more thing. I kept the feedback form link. You all please fill this feedback form.
Hello, thank you. Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
Dr. Gauri, please.
Hello. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for such a nice presentation. Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
Gauri Shankar, please.
Thank you, sir, for such a nice presentation.
Thank
Sir,
you.
actually, one more query. Sir, is there any digital herbarium available to Flora of Telangana?
The
Updated digital
digital
herbarium.
volumes are not available, but I am aware that the latest work was by Reddy and Reddy.
Reddy, sir, I know. Sudhakar Reddy.
No, there is no digital database as such available. We are working on that. The Center for Biodiversity and Conservation Study and Telangana State Biodiversity Board is working on creating a database that would be available digitally.
Sir, can I take your contact number?
Yes, it was in the last slide. So you can contact Dr. Nagaraju. Do you have his number?
Sir, please send your number in the link.
Okay, it's my full name, Chelmala Srinivaslu at gmail.com.
Sir, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah, my full name, Chelmala Srinivaslu at gmail.com. You can Google and you will get all my details.
Okay, sir, I'll contact you because, sir,
Yeah,
actually, I am working on the taxonomy.
right.
Taxonomy and my field of work doing me also PhD in taxonomy.
Okay.
At
Where are you
present,
located? Gauri Shankar, where are you located?
sir, in Jajpur, Odisha of Jajpur.
Okay. Okay.
Jajpur. Actually, my guide is also one well-known taxonomist of Odisha.
Right. Okay. That's good. That's good to know.
Professor Kunjabihari Satpathy.
Yeah, that's good to know. That's good to
Sir,
know.
I want to make collaboration with you. So I want to contact you.
We'll be helpful in whatever way we could. Yeah. Thank you very
Okay, sir.
much.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Ravi Babu.
Ravi Babu. Sir.
Dr. Ravi Babu.
Sir, 1 minute. Hey, good evening, sir. Srinivasulu, sir. You shared your experience very briefly. I'm very happy with you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I'm requesting you. You said excellent in loss of habitat. So how habitat is losing? How the biodiversity is are losing? In this
Yeah.
area, so there are what is the
Dr. Nagaraju, మీరు మ్యూట్
of
చేయండి.
governments and other NGOs and public participation and other things. Especially, please give suggestions to how to protect the biodiversity. You told today excellent with data and where we are and what we are, how the biodiversity is changing and climate changing. These are all the excellent, sir. But I want to know from you, sir. So how we must mitigate to protect the biodiversity. So
Yeah.
in this area, please tell me. This is very important, sir, because now okay, sir. You tell excellent, and we can know if we are researching, sir, and we can Google it. So that is the secondary thing. But the first thing, what should government do? What should the public should do? What the corporate should do? And what people should do? So these areas, please convey. Please convey. He took 2-3 minutes and please convey how we should mitigate to protect the biodiversity, sir. This is very, very important today. So
Yes.
that is
Yes. I
really
got
am
your point. I
interested in
got
this
your
area,
point.
sir.
Let me
Thank you.
Mr. Ravi Babu. Let me just ask you one question. Before you attended this particular talk, were you aware that what are the kind of threats that are impacting the species all around us? The awareness that comes is with the information that we are getting. The information is being captured and the information is being analyzed, and then the information is provided as a data to public domain, and the public has to know that these are the threats that are impacting. Once the public becomes aware of these things that are being scientifically vetted by scientific community, then the public has this information in their hand to convince the policy makers, be it at the local level to state level or national level. The information, the data, many a times when we go to any, say, district collector and say that, this is what needs to be done, the district collector asks us, what is the basis of your claim that you are making? And then we say that this is what we have done, this is what surveys we have shown, these many years and these many months we have worked over there, and we found that these are the threats that are happening. Then the district collector has the scientific evidence to make a policy decision at the local level and implement it. And the same thing happens at the state level and at the national level. So what your question was like, how are we going to mitigate habitat loss as such? When you know that there are, say, out of 100 species or out of total biodiversity that you have around us, 80% of the species are becoming impacted by. And when we know about this information, when any developmental activity is happening, you can go and speak to the local policy maker, decision maker, saying that, okay, you are doing this, but how are we going to balance the habitat that is needed for these biological diversity? How are we going to take care of that? If we do not have any answer, or if we do not have any kind of understanding that this is what is happening on ground and this is what we need to do, you would not be able to convince the policymakers. Let me tell you, we have been working on one particular species of bat, and that was under threat because of stone quarrying. When we had lots of information, we were able to convince the district collector of Kolar, we were able to convince the mining department of government of Karnataka, and to stop mining activity in that area. 3 kilometer radius, they have stopped mining activity because we told them, after understanding this is what it is, this is what happens if you are going to keep mining, the species is going to become extinct. And we have told them the species are less than 500 individuals in the wild. Do you want it to become extinct? So the government has taken a positive decision towards that. It took us 3 years to convince them, right? It is what has made us to convince them for 3 years. It is the dedication, this is the passion that we wanted to tell people that, okay, this species needs to be conserved, and these habitat loss or these habitat disturbances are going to impact the species, and we are going to lose this species. What do we learn from this? Information is there, scientists are giving us information, but the commitment, the compassion, and the conviction with which we convince the local authorities, from the local authorities to district authorities to the government, all of them are wanting people to come together and act in such a manner that we can protect the species. Nobody is kind. I'm telling you, many a times when the habitat loss is happening, it is the major industrial developmental contractors who are pushing this envelope and getting benefit out of that. But all of us who are scientists, who are teaching in colleges, who do research and all those things, we are keeping silent. If we go and talk to them, we convince them, we tell them this is the scientific evidence, and that would give you a kind of positive mitigation action. We have done that. In fact, I'm telling you, in 2013 we discovered the species, and by 2019 we got the conservation reserve declared in Karnataka, not in Telangana, right? Somewhere in Karnataka. What way? Just by conviction. Every year, 3 times we used to go, our team used to go, study the species, study the habitat, give the local government give the villagers the evidence that this is what is happening all around you. Do you want to lose this? Do you want to, say sorry to the world that we could not protect this species? The conviction is needed, the commitment is needed. And it takes sometimes. For us, we were lucky. Many conservation biologists like me were doubting that, Srinivas, would you be able to get it protected? But we never lost hope. We kept on. 6 years we went there regularly. We have convinced ministers, we have convinced the collectors, we have convinced the mining department heads, forest department heads, etc., etc. Not only that, local colleges, local teachers, schools, we have convinced everybody and said that, okay, this is your responsibility, you have to. And today we have a conservation reserve for protecting that habitat, to save that species. It can be done. What is missing is conviction, commitment from our side. We know that there is a lot of things that are happening wrong, but how many of us are, really getting involved and say we have to bring it down? And that's the reason why I'm telling you, this year we have taught from agreement to action. We need action on ground rather than just having knowledge. For students, I'm just speaking to all of you who are seniors, all of you who have done your PhDs and you're teaching. You are in a wonderful responsible positions. You are the people who are changing the mindset of youngsters. So what are we doing as such? All of us seniors, what are we doing is the biggest question. We should have the knowledge and we should disseminate the knowledge, but also be active. Just by just saying that ki हाँ होता है करता है. Today if I'm speaking just like this, it is because we have done it and we know that what we are doing. We know. I can tell you that there are success stories and there are failures. We have learned from the failures, and then we have created success stories of conserving areas, conserving species, conserving, bringing about change at the national level, in the national level policies. In the Indian Wildlife Protection Act, many of us have been, writing to Government of India saying that, there's a lot of changes that needs to be done. That is the power of human being. That is the power of common citizen. I don't have to be having a PhD degree or a position in university to convince somebody. As Dr. Nagaraj was mentioning about Greta, or mentioning about young students, they are able to do it because they are committed themselves and said, okay, this is what we need to do. As far as the habitat loss is concerned, wherever the habitat development is happening, we have to go to the local, MLAs and local administrators and talk to them and say that, okay, 100%, we should never do 100% development in any area. If there is a forest area nearby, we should protect the forest area. How are we going to protect it? How are we going to give us information? Sitting at the biodiversity board and talking with municipal administrations and talking with forest departments, we can get things moved from our side, saying that, okay, this much of data is available, these are the rare species that are found in these areas, and real estate development should not happen. There are ways of doing it, but habitat loss, because of us, because of human beings, we have been expanding in horizontal fashion. Hyderabad was only 650 square kilometer area. Today it is 6,500 square kilometer area. So you see that in last 1 decade, how much of habitat we have destroyed. I don't know how many of you might have seen Erra Talkaya Tonda. We call it as police Tonda, right? Rala Guttala Paina police Tondalu Chana Kanpistunde Mandagara. Nobat Pahad, where Birla Mandir is situated. My pastime when I was young and when I used to go to AV college, my degree was in AV college. Police Tondal Zuseshi Abba Enta Muduga Kanpisune Yetta Yerra Talakaya. ఇప్పుడు you go over there, not a single police tonda will be seen because construction అయిపోయింది, మొత్తం కాలనీస్ వచ్చేసింది. The same situation is happening all around us. మియాపూర్ కానివ్వండి, మీరు పటన్ చెరువు కానివ్వండి, లేకపోతే మేడ్చల్ ఏరియా కానివ్వండి, all these areas, all రాళ్ళ గుట్టలు have been removed and we have constructed real estate. 90%, 99% of population of police tonda in the Hyderabad city vicinity is gone. Why? Because of these things. Now, when you have this information and you have published a document which is internationally acclaimed document, the policymakers also think 10 times, yes, there is some value to this information that we are bringing onto the table, and that the policymakers are going to take into cognizance, take into notice, and then refine the development projects. ఎన్ని డెవలప్మెంట్ ప్రాజెక్ట్స్కి రిఫైన్మెంట్ చేపియలేదు, చేపియగలుగుతాము, చేపియొచ్చు. సిటిజనరీలో ఉన్న శక్తి అది. ఆ శక్తి ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళి వస్తుంది? ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ద్వారా, డేటా ద్వారా వస్తుంది, సైంటిఫిక్ అబ్జర్వేషన్ ద్వారా వస్తుంది. సో ఆల్ దీస్ థింగ్స్ ఆర్ వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. దట్స్ ద రీజన్ వై వీ నీడ్ టు క్రియేట్ మోర్ అండ్ మోర్ అవేర్నెస్. Many of us know that biodiversity is important, but how many of us really know what biodiversity is doing to us? What kind of services, ecosystem services we are getting from the biodiversity? How many of us know about all these things? So that is where the knowledge gap is, and we have to expand to fill up that knowledge gap and share this knowledge with all the common citizenry, so that they will also become knowledge, and they will also support our demands, wherein we say we need to cut down habitat loss. We need to do, see, habitat loss anedi, habitat fragmentation anedi jaruguta untundi. As long as human beings are there, we are going to disturb the habitat. That's our behavior. But as intellectuals, we should be able to mitigate it, reduce it, and say that, okay, alternate is this, please do not do this, we can do this, and we can live. Both the biodiversity, all the wild animals and wild plants, and human beings can live harmoniously together. That's the solution, and that is how we have to go forward. I hope, Ravi Babu, you have got your answer.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, sir. We are following you, sir. In social media, we are following. And thank you, organizers. You are given such kind of nature man, Professor Chelmala Srinivasulu. So thank you very much, sir. Definitely, we will meet you, sir.
Yeah,
Definitely,
sure.
we are fighting, sir. We are fighting, but it is very problematic. In Warangal, I am fighting with one organization. Help with organization. There is a Devunuru Hills. I think you know that there is a beautiful biodiversity. But the only thing is, please don't mind if somebody from political, but the political MLAs and those who are doing MLAs and government also. You take that 111 GO in Hyderabad.
Geo 111, yeah.
So these are all things, sir. And I will talk to you, sir, about the regarding 25th. We have one meeting in Hyderabad regarding at 111 GO. So
Okay.
what should the alternative? How we ask the government? So these things we are going to discuss that. In that, if you have time, please provide your time on 25th.
Yeah, 25th I am on duty. In fact, we have exam duties. But what I can suggest to you, Ravi Babu, is like, going against the government or government decision, many a times we fail. What we have to do is we have to give the solution, take the solution to them, rather than saying that scrapping Geo level 111 is wrong. You say, okay, you have scrapped Geo 111. What are the alternatives? What are we doing? What are we doing to ensure that the provisions that were provided in Geo 111 would be implemented or would be retained in one form or other? Development is needed. As I told you, development is needed. As long as real estate sharks are there, politicians are there, they are not going to be, taking
Yes,
all
you are
these things
100%.
into.
You are 100% right, sir.
Yeah. So
100%
what
right.
we have to do is we have to talk their talk. We have to talk their talk rather than standing against them saying that this is wrong. They are not going to listen to us. We say, okay, you have done this. We thank you for keeping Geo 111 for so long, and we are hurt that you have taken out Geo 111. But what is the alternative that you have taken? What are the alternatives that you are trying to bring into picture? That is going to ensure that my Hussain Sagar and my Osman Sagar catchment areas are protected from high rise buildings, etc., etc. అని మీరు చూస్తే ఫైనాన్షియల్ డిస్ట్రిక్ట్ ఆ ఏరియా మొత్తము హై రైజు అన్ని జరిగాయి. ఎంత ప్రొటెక్షన్, ఏ ప్రొటెక్షన్ ఇవ్వగలుగుతాము, హౌ మచ్ వీ క్యాన్ గివ్, we have to talk to them in that manner. If we go against them now presently, after that they have taken a decision, then it becomes little difficult for us to really convince them to take positive decisions in post GO11 scraping scenario, right? You got my point. So that is how we tackle.
I got it, sir.
Yeah, we
Thank you very
tackle
much,
the
sir. Definitely,
politicians.
we will do and we will follow you,
Yeah.
and definitely we will take advices where when required. So,
Yes.
thank you very much, organizers, and thank you very much, listeners. Also, thank you, sir. And once again, happy Biodiversity Day, sir.
To you and all of you also. Yeah. Thank you.
Sir, thank you. Thank you very much, sir,
Yeah.
for elaborate giving answers and explanation of the issues along with the delivering talk and also discuss with the present situation issues to conserve our biodiversity. And with this, we are very much thankful to you, sir. We are very, very happy to have this much enlightened talk. So many people are being involved in this talk. And with this, at least each one, they may conserve at least one species, at least few space of the biodiversity. At least they follow some of the 17, some of the SDG goals. They may make aware and they may follow these conservation goals and they may be habituated to conserve the nature with the development without the restriction.
Yep.
So that's we expect with this invited talk. With this invited talk, we expect at least we do our level best to conserve the biodiversity. We do our level best to motivate, to educate, to make aware among the people, and even village level. Also, we needed the biodiversity registers. We need to make more and more biodiversity registers in the village levels, mandal levels. This all we needed in our Telangana.
It has
Especially
been mandated. Yeah, Nagaraju, it has been mandated by government of Telangana as well as the Telangana State Biodiversity Board, and the
yes,
board and the volunteers are working on that, and we are having a big thing that comes out maybe by mid June or something like that. By July, we would be having lots of PBRs.
biodiversity of India. Yes,
Yeah.
that's needed. But recent law that somewhat defect recently accepted. But we need to oppose that some aspects are there
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
That we have no time to discuss it all. That all having the some of the drawbacks in the
Yeah.
recently accepted one. So only thing is public awareness, public activation, public motivation, public support is needed than the any law.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for enlightened thought. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you all for listening and for participating in this talk on the occasion of our International Day of Biodiversity. You know the theme that agreement to action, bring back biodiversity. We need to bring back our biodiversity. As said, go back to nature. As like go back to Vedas, go back to nature. We are going back to nature. We need to go back to nature. Though we are highly technology, we are involved in highly technology. We are having highly modern people. We need the nature. Without the nature support, without the Panchabhutas, without the nature, we can't survive. That we need, that we make aware all the people in and around of us. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Once again, thank you, sir. Thank you for your motivational talk, sir. And immediate acceptance and given a time, space, even busy today in the inauguration of the Center for Biodiversity and Conservation in the university. You have given the time to us. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. We will meet you in the department, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you once again. Bye bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.